Sure. Sure. Check one, two, three.
Shivaya. The students, those who are sitting there in the last rows, are requested to come forward. Shivaya. Namah Priyamvadayaः उद्घाटनकार्यक्रमेऽस्मिन् तत्र भवतां सर्वेषां हार्दं स्वागतम्। केन्द्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य आर्थिकसाहाय्येन अमृतविश्वविद्यापीठेन क्रियमाणः अयं प्रकल्पः विश्वस्य प्रथमं संस्कृतध्वनिपुस्तकं व्यरचयत्। तस्य औपचारिकम् उद्घाटनसत्रमिदं। विशिष्टामस्यां वेलायाम् अन्तर्जालमाध्यमेन अत्र विराजन्ते भारतदेशस्य ऐर्लैण्ड् राष्ट्रदूतः अखिलेश मिश्र महोदयः, प्रोफेसर् गण्डी एस् मूर्ति महोदयः, तथा अस्माकं संघाय प्रमुखः प्रोफेसर् कृष्णकुमार महोदयश्च। तेभ्यः स्वागतं व्याहरामि। तथा च विद्वत्तल्लजाः प्रोफेसर् श्रीनिवास वर्खेडी महोदयः, सत्यनारायण भट्ट महोदयः, समादरणीयः स्वामी शङ्करामृतानन्दपुरीवर्यः, ब्रह्मचारी अच्युतामृतचैतन्यवर्यश्च अधिमञ्चम् आमन्त्र्यन्ते। गुरुवन्दनेन सह दीपप्रज्वालनाय अतिथयः सम्प्रार्थ्यन्ते।
ईश्वरी नमः। ओम अमृतेश्वरी 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 नमः। ओम अमृतेश्वर्यै 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 नमः। ध्यायामो धवलावगुण्ठनवती तेजोमयीं नष्टिकीं स्निग्धापादविलोकिनीं भगवतीं मन्दस्मितश्रीमुखी वात्सल्यामृतवर्षिणी सुमधुरं सङ्कीर्तनालापिनी श्यामाङ्गी मधुस्निग्धसूक्तिम् अमृतानन्दात्मिका ईश्वरी.
अधुना अस्मच्छात्रः वसुदेवः मङ्गलाचरणरूपेण नारायणीयस्य तृतीयदशकात् कांश्चन श्लोकान् प्रस्तौति.
पठन्तो नामानि प्रमदभरसिन्धौ निपतिताः स्मरन्तो रूपं ते वरद कथयन्तो गुणकथा चरन्तो ये भक्तास्त्वयि खलु रमन्ते परममूनहं धन्यान्मन्ये समधिगत सर्वाभिलषितान् गदक्लिष्टं कष्टं तव चरणसेवारसभरेऽप्यनासक्तं चित्तं भवति बत विष्णो कुरुदयाम् भवत्पादाम्भोजस्मरणरसिको नाम निवहान् अहं गायं कुहचन विपत्स्यामि विजने कृपाते जाता चेत् किमिव न हि लभ्यं तनुभृताम् मदीय क्लेशौघप्रशमनदशा नाम कियदी न के लोकेऽस्मिन् अनिशमयि शोकाभिरहिता भवद्भक्ता मुक्ता सुखगतिमसक्ता विदधते विधूय क्लेशान् मे कुरु चरणयुग्मं धृतरसं भवत्क्षेत्तत्प्राप्तौ करमपि च ते पूजनविधौ भवन्मूर्त्यालोके नयनम् अध ते पादतुलसी परिघ्राणे घ्राणम् श्रवणमपि ते चारुचरिते. धन्यवाद.
वसुदेवाय मङ्गलम्. अत्र सन्निहितानां विद्वद्वरेण्यानां परिचयपूर्वकं स्वागतं विधीयते. कार्यक्रमेऽस्मिन् आध्यक्ष्यम् अलङ्करोति प्रोफेसर् यू कृष्णकुमार महोदयः, यः 44 वर्षेभ्यः शिक्षणे अनुसन्धानेऽपि रतः सन् प्रकृतम् अमृतविश्वविद्यापीठस्य कोच्चि परिसरे सेवारतः वर्तते. आर्ट्स् ह्युमानिटीस् एवं कॉमर्स् विभागानां संकाय प्रमुखः वर्तते महोदयः. बोर्ड ऑफ स्टडीस् अध्यक्षः, संगणकसंकायस्य अनुसन्धान विभागस्य निदेशकः इत्यादीनि बहूनि प्राशासनिकस्थानान्यपि अलङ्करोति आचार्यः कृष्णकुमार महोदयः. महोदयाय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि. कार्यक्रमस्य उद्घाटकरूपेण समुपस्थितः वर्तते 1920-तमात् भारतदेशस्य आयर्लैंड राष्ट्रदूतः अखिलेशमिश्रमहाभागः. भारतस्य वैदेशिक सेवा विभागे दशकत्रयात् सेवारतोऽसौ. आयर्लैंड देशप्राप्तेः पूर्वं विदेशमन्त्रालये विशेषतन्त्रज्ञरूपेण सेवारतः आसीत्. एवं च ICCR अध्यक्षरूपेण, मालदीव्स देशे भारतस्य राष्ट्रदूतरूपेण, केनडा तथा अमेरिका देशयोः कन्सल् जनरल रूपेण, विदेशकार्यमन्त्रालये कार्यदर्शिरूपेण, अफ्गान देशे डेप्यूटी चीफ ऑफ मिशन रूपेण, टांजानिया देशे डेप्यूटी हाई कमिशनर रूपेण, एवं च नेपाल देशे, इटली देशे, पेरू देशे च सेवारतः अवर्तत. संस्कृतज्ञः सन्नेव आंग्लम् अतिरिच्य स्पेनिश, इटालियन, नेपाली भाषासु निष्णातः वर्तते अखिलेश मिश्रमहाभागः. मूलतः वाराणसी प्रान्तीयोऽसौ बनारस् हिन्दू विश्वविद्यालयद्वारा सुवर्णपदकेन सभाजितः वर्तते। भारतीयसंस्कृतौ भाषासु साहित्ये योगशास्त्रेऽपि कृतभूरिपरिश्रमः वर्तते अखिलेशमिश्रमहोदयः। अमृतविश्वविद्यापीठपक्षतः श्रीमते अखिलेशमिश्रमहोदयाय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। अत्र अधिमञ्चं विराजते प्रोफेसर् श्रीनिवासवर्खेडी महोदयः, यः केन्द्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य कुलपतिपदम् अलङ्करोति। नैकशास्त्रनदीष्णः असौ 30 वर्षेभ्यः शैक्षिकक्षेत्रे, अनुसन्धानक्षेत्रे, प्रशासनक्षेत्रेऽपि स्वीयं योगदानं कुर्वन् संस्कृतभाषायाः प्रचुरप्रचाराय सततं यतते। नागपुरे विद्यमानस्य कविकुलगुरुकालिदासविश्वविद्यालयस्य, गोण्ड्वाना विश्वविद्यालयस्य, कर्णाटकसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयस्य च कुलपतिचरः असौ। पुनश्च विविधासु शैक्षिकसंस्थासु कुलसचिवः, निदेशकः, संकायप्रमुखः इत्येतादृशानि स्थानान्यपि अलङ्कृतवान्। एवं च भाग्यनगरे वर्तमानायां IIT संस्थायां वरिष्ठानुसन्धातृरूपेण सेवां चकार। तस्मिन् अवसरे NLP, आर्टिफिशियल् इंटेलिजेंस इत्यादिषु क्षेत्रेष्वपि अनुसन्धानमकरोत्। आचार्यस्य वर्खेडी महोदयस्य मार्गदर्शने एव केन्द्रीयसंस्कृतविश्वविद्यालयः राष्ट्रीयमूल्याङ्कन एवं प्रत्यायनपरिषदा A++ स्तरं प्राप्तवान्। एवं च भारतराष्ट्रपतिना महर्षि बादरायण व्याससम्मानेन सभाजितः वर्खेडी महोदयः डॉक्टर गोस्वामी गिरिधरलाल संस्कृत गौरव पुरस्कारेण, अटल रत्न पुरस्कारेण, त्रिभिः संस्थाभिः विद्यावाचस्पति पदव्या, सेंट्रल इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ हायर टिबेटन स्टडीज द्वारा ऑनोरिस कौजा डिग्री इन लिटरेचर सम्मानेन च सभाजितः वर्तते। प्रौढानां 16 ग्रन्थानां लेखकोऽसौ, शताधिकानां विविध शास्त्र ग्रन्थानां सम्पादनकार्यमप्यकरोत्। 25 अनुसन्धातृभ्यः मार्गदर्शनमपि महोदयेन कृतमस्ति। पुनश्च सांजी विश्वविद्यालये, चिन्मय विश्वविद्यापीठे, पुणे MIT संस्थायां, वेदविज्ञान गुरुकुले, रामकृष्ण विवेकानंद विश्वविद्यालये, रवीन्द्र भारती विश्वविद्यालये, IIT भाग्यनगरे, जादवपुर विश्वविद्यालये च वर्खेडी महोदयः अभ्यागताचार्यरूपेण सेवारतः वर्तते। 10 प्रकल्पानां प्रिन्सिपल् इन्वेस्टिगेटर आसीत् महोदयः। 200 समावेशेषु, कार्यशालासु, कार्यक्रमेषु च भारतीय ज्ञानपरम्परा, धर्मः, संस्कृतिः, गुरुशिष्यपरम्परा इत्याद्यान् विषयान् अधिकृत्य मुख्यवक्तृरूपेण स्वीयं भागधेयं विहितमनेन ICPR संस्थायां, जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालयस्य चयनसमितौ, जगद्गुरु रामभद्राचार्य दिव्यांग विश्वविद्यालये, मानव संसाधन विकास मंत्रालयस्य तथा विश्वविद्यालय अनुदान आयोगस्य, संस्कृत एक्शन प्लान DPR NSQF, प्राच्य विद्या कौशल परिषदि, भारतीय भाषा संवर्धन समितौ, बनारस हिंदू विश्वविद्यालये, हैदराबाद विश्वविद्यालये, मणिपाल विश्वविद्यालयेन पुनः विविधासु मणिपाल विश्वविद्यालये एवं च विविधासु समितिषु सदस्यः वर्तते महोदयः। पुनश्च संस्कृत डिजिटल कंसोर्शियम इत्यस्य संस्थापकः तथा 10,100 देशीय समितिषु, शैक्षिक मंडलिषु, संस्थासु च सदस्यः वर्तते असौ। संस्कृतस्य तथा भारत संस्कृत्याः पुनरुज्जीवनाय, प्रचार प्रसाराय च अविरामं प्रवर्तमानः आचार्यः श्रीनिवासवर्खेडी महाभागः कुञ्चिका भाषणेन अस्मान् उद्बोधयिष्यति। अहम् अमृत विश्वविद्यापीठपक्षतः भवते हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। ब्रह्मचारी अच्युतामृत चैतन्यः सम्प्रार्थ्यते श्रीनिवासवर्खेडी महोदयं सभाजयितुम्। अत्र अस्माभिः सह सन्निहितः वर्तते अन्तर्जालद्वारा प्रोफेसर् गण्डी एस् मूर्ति महोदयः, यः IIT इंडोर मध्ये बायोसाइन्सेस् एवं बायोमेडिकल इंजीनियरिंग विभागे आचार्यः वर्तते। एवं च भारत सर्वकारस्य भारतीय ज्ञानपरम्परा विभागस्य देशीय संयोजकः वर्तते। पुनश्च IIT इंडोर मध्ये सेंटर फॉर इंडियन साइंटिफिक नॉलेज सिस्टम्स दलस्य संस्थापकः च वर्तते। मूर्ति महोदयः सुस्थिर जीवन प्रक्रियायाः विषये विपुलम् अनुसन्धानं करोति। अनुसन्धानकर्मणि सततं निरतः। तस्य गणः नियंत्रण सिद्धान्तस्य, प्रणाली विज्ञानस्य, प्रक्रिया प्रतिरूपणस्य, आर्थिकविश्लेषणस्य जीवनचक्रमूल्याङ्कनस्य च उपयोगेन प्रयोगात्मक सैद्धान्तिक दृष्टिकोणानां संयोजनं नियोजयति। समादरणीयाय गण्टी एस् मूर्ति महोदयाय विश्वविद्यालय पक्षतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। संस्कृत भारत्याः महामन्त्री सत्यनारायण भट्ट महोदयः अत्र मञ्चम् अलङ्कुर्वन् आसीत्। अधुना मातुः आमन्त्रणं प्राप्तम् इत्यतः महोदयः झटिति तत्र गत्वा आगमिष्यति। महोदयस्य ईषत् परिचयम् अत्र वक्तुम् इच्छामि। विगतेभ्यः 30 वर्षेभ्यः संस्कृतभारत्यां पूर्णकालिकत्वेन सेवारतः महोदयः संस्कृतभारत्याः मन्त्री, प्रकाशनविभागस्य अध्यक्षः इत्यादीनि विविधानि स्थानान्यपि अलङ्कृतवान्। संस्कृतप्रचारणार्थं न केवलं भारते अपि तु विविधेषु देशेषु प्रवासं कृतवान् तथा कुर्वन्नपि वर्तते। कर्णाटकराज्यस्य सिरसी प्रदेशीयोऽसौ अधुना बङ्गलूरु केन्द्रे अक्षरे सेवारतः अस्ति। श्रीमते सत्यनारायण भट्ट महोदयाय विश्वविद्यालय पक्षतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। स्ववचोभिः अस्मान् अनुगृहीतुम् अत्र समुपस्थितः वर्तते स्वामी शङ्करामृतानन्दपुरीवर्यः। माधुरमृतानन्दमय्याः वरिष्ठः सन्यासिशिष्यः अयं। प्रकृतम् अमृतविश्वविद्यापीठस्य आयुर्वेदमहाविद्यालयस्य मेडिकल सूपरिण्टेण्डेण्ट् एंड मेडिकल डायरेक्टर तथा संकाय प्रमुखश्च वर्तते। बहुभ्यः वर्षेभ्यः आयुर्वेद वैद्यः असौ। कायचिकित्सायां कृतभूरि परिश्रमः वर्तते। जर्मनी, स्विट्जर्लैंड, स्पेन् इत्यादिषु देशेषु आयुर्वेदशास्त्रस्य प्रचार प्रसारार्थं प्रवासमकरोत्। अधुना स्वामिनः मार्गदर्शने अस्माकम् आयुर्वेदमहाविद्यालयस्य अनुदिनं प्रवर्धनं प्रचलति। स्वामिने शङ्करामृतानन्दपुरीवर्याय अहं हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। ब्रह्मचारी अच्युतामृतचैतन्यः सम्प्रार्थ्यते स्वामिनं शङ्करामृतानन्दपुरीवर्यं सभाजयितुम्। अधुना स्वागतं व्याह्रियते अस्माकम् अमृता स्कूल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल एंड कल्चरल स्टडीज विभागस्य प्राचार्याय ब्रह्मचारिणे अच्युतामृतचैतन्यवर्याय 20 वर्षेभ्यः उच्चशिक्षास्तरे सेवारतः असौ। एकादशोत्तरविंशतिशततमे अमृतविश्वविद्यापीठं प्रविष्टवान्। भक्तिशास्त्रानुगुणं रामचरितमानस समीक्षा इत्यस्मिन् विषये विद्यावारिधिं प्राप्तवान् महोदयः। अहं महोदयाय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। ऑनलाइन एंड आउटरीच प्रोग्राम्स दलाध्यक्षः ब्रह्मचारी शिवानन्दवर्यः सम्प्रार्थ्यते ब्रह्मचारिणम् अच्युतामृतचैतन्यवर्यं सभाजयितुम्। भारतस्य विविधेभ्यः प्रान्तेभ्यः विविधाभ्यः संस्थाभ्यश्च संस्कृतसेवारताः बहवः वरिष्ठाः उपमञ्चं विराजन्ते। तान् सानन्दं सविनयं च कार्यक्रमं प्रति स्वागतीकुर्मो वयम्। केरल विश्वविद्यालयस्य भाषासंकायस्य निदेशिकायै प्रोफेसर CN विजयकुमारी वर्यायै स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। श्री शंकर संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालयस्य भूतपूर्व आचार्याय तथा रैल निगम लिमिटेड निदेशकाय वाग्मिणे प्रोफेसर MV नटेशन महोदयाय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याहरामि। केन्द्रीय संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालयस्य गुरुवायूर परिसरस्य निदेशकाय प्रोफेसर KK शैन महोदयाय स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। कर्नाटक संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालयस्य वेद वेदांग संकाय प्रमुखायै प्रोफेसर शिवानी महोदयायै हार्दं स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। भगिनी अनन्तरम् आगमिष्यति, अधुना नास्ति। देहलीस्थ संस्कृत संवर्धन प्रतिष्ठानस्य मुख्याधिकारिणे श्रीमते लक्ष्मी नरसिंहन् महोदयाय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। अमृता विश्वविद्यापीठस्य स्कूल ऑफ आर्ट्स एंड साइंसेस प्राचार्याय डॉक्टर निधीश महोदयाय स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। महोदयः चिरादेव अत्र उपस्थितः भविष्यति। अमृता स्कूल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल एंड कल्चरल स्टडीज विभागाध्यक्षाय डॉक्टर आनंद सदाशिवन महोदयाय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। ऑनलाइन एंड आउटरीच प्रोग्राम्स दलाध्यक्षाय ब्रह्मचारी शिवानंद वर्याय हार्दं स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। प्रकल्पस्य संवर्धने साहाय्यं कृतवत्यै अस्मद्विभागस्य शोधछात्रायै कुमारी आरती अनिलाय स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। केरला विश्वविद्यालयात् समागतवते डॉक्टर जयकृष्णन महोदयाय स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। अमृता विश्वविद्यापीठस्य स्कूल ऑफ इंजीनियरिंग असोसिएट डीन प्रोफेसर एस.एन. ज्योति महाभागायै हार्दं स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। एवं च अत्र मेलने साक्षात् तथा अन्तर्जालमाध्यमेन च उपस्थितेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः वरिष्ठेभ्यः विद्वत्तल्लजेभ्यः संस्कृतानुरागिभ्यः अमृता विश्वविद्यापीठपक्षतः हार्दं स्वागतं व्याह्रियते। अमृता स्कूल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल एंड कल्चरल स्टडीज इति अस्माकं विभागः संस्कृतभाषायाः प्रचार प्रसारार्थं सततं निरतः वर्तते। अत्र अधुना पश्यामः अस्माकं तादृशान् क्रियाकलापान्। वीडियो अधुना अस्माकं स्क्रीन् मध्ये दृश्यते प्रियंवदा इति अस्माकं ऐप् यदस्ति, संस्कृत ऑडियो बुक ऐप् यदस्ति तद् अधुना अत्र दृश्यते। 40 ग्रन्थाः अस्माभिः स्वीकृताः, तेषु 12 ग्रन्थाः अधुना अस्माकम् एतस्मिन् उपलभ्यन्ते। प्ले स्टोर तथा आप स्टोर इत्येतेषु ऐप् रूपेण प्रियंवदा इति वयं टङ्कणं कृत्वा दद्मश्चेत् तद् अस्माभिः डौन्लोड् कर्तुं शक्यते, निःशुल्करूपेण उपयोगमपि कर्तुं शक्यते। एतत् संस्कृतज्ञानाम् एवं संस्कृतानुरागिणां शास्त्रछात्राणां कृते एव तेषाम् उपयोगाय भवतु इति धिया एव अस्माभिः कृतमस्ति। धन्यवादः। अधुना प्रोफेसर यू कृष्णकुमार महोदयः सादरम् अनुरुन्धे अध्यक्षभाषणार्थं। महोदयः अन्तर्जालमाध्यमेन अत्र युक्तः अस्ति।
Anshaya? Namaskar.
श्रूयते महोदय, श्रूयते.
Am I audible?
Yes sir, you are audible.
Should I start talking?
Yes sir, please.
Mama Amriteshwari Namaha. My humble prostration at the lotus feet of His Most Beloved Amma. My humble prostrations to Pujaniya Swamiji Shankaramanandapuri. My humble pranams to Brahmachari Achyutamrita Chaitanya Ji. And my humble pranams to all the Brahmacharis, all the esteemed faculty at the Amritapuri campus. And my humble pranams to Sri Aglesh Mishra, IFS, Indian Ambassador to Ireland. My humble pranams to Professor Srinivasa Raketi, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central Sanskrit University. My humble pranams to Professor Gandhias Murthy, the National Coordinator of IKS under the Ministry of Education. My humble pranams to Sri Satyanarayan Bhatt, the All India General Secretary of the Sanskrit Bharati. And my humble pranams to all the revered educationalists of the Sanskrit domain and all those who are present both at Amritapuri and online. I was supposed to have attended this in person at Amritapuri, but all of a sudden a commitment came at Kochi for which my presence is most required here. Because of that, I called Brahmachari Achyutamrita Chaitanya Ji and asked his pardon for exempting from being present at the Amritapuri campus. I feel sorry for that. Priyamvada implies pleasant speech, sweet speech, for which we have our Amma as the embodiment of this precious quality of pleasant and sweet. Amma's Jnana Shloka itself says, Madhu Sikta Suktim, and Amma is the embodiment of this pleasant character. And it is most heartening that ours is the first university taking up this most covetable achievement of bringing out the Sanskrit audiobook and the first 14 editions of it in different Android and iOS platforms. It's all because of Amma's incessant blessings on this project. And Dr. Harikrishnan, Principal Investigator, and Dr. Mithun P., the Co-Principal Investigator, definitely deserves all the credit for having brought out this first almost 40% of the total number of books which are going to be brought out. And hearty congratulations to Dr. Harikrishnan and Dr. Mithun P. We are all waiting to hear from our honored professors and guests who are adoring this most important function of this year, one of the most important functions of this year, the release of the audio platform to the public and strictly adhering to the Shastric tradition. Not only that, it is freely accessible to the public. May I take this opportunity to pray to Amma ardently for us to enable us to complete this project. Priyamvada, and to give more strength to all the professionals who are working behind this project to contribute more towards the wisdom and richness of the Sanskrit to the Bharat. Now, I'm also having been sanctioned a project here, a center here for IKS recently, in the recent announcements. That's going to focus on the physical sciences, mathematics, and astronomy, for which also Sanskrit is serving as one of the most principal, most useful medium of investigation. All the tools, we will be using the AI and IT to the maximum extent possible. And let me also take this opportunity to meet, at least online, Professor Gandhi, and with these words, let me offer these words at the lotus feet of our beloved Amma. And with this launching ceremony, all the best, which will go a long way in our spreading the vigor and culture of the Sanskrit language to the whole world. Om Amriteshwari Namaha.
धन्यवादः महोदय। अस्माकं विभागस्य अमृता स्कूल ऑफ स्पिरिचुअल कल्चरल स्टडीज विभागस्य क्रियाकलापान् किञ्चित् पश्यामः। तत्र अधुना दृश्यम् आगच्छति। श्री शंकराचार्य व्याख्यानमालायाः द्वितीयं सत्रम् अत्र आरभते। शास्त्र संवर्धनं तथैव शास्त्र रक्षणं च उद्दिश्य अमृत विश्वविद्यापीठेन अत्र आयोजितायाः शास्त्र सौरभम् इत्येतस्याः शास्त्रार्थ सभायाः समारम्भः
सर्वान् ज्योतिषपण्डितान् आहूय ഏതാദൃശി സഭ ആയോജിത ഇതി മയാ ശ്രുതം.
ആ വിശ്വാസത്തിന്റെ അടിത്തറ തന്നെ ജ്ഞാനമാണ്, അറിവാണ്.
അമൃത വിശ്വവിദ്യാപീഠം അമൃതപുരി ക്യാമ്പസ് ഇൻട്രൊഡ്യൂസസ് സംസ്കൃത ആലോകः. अत्र अध्ययनमस्माकम् आरभ्यते।
तदेव विषयम् अवलम्ब्य पूर्वं नि इति उपसर्गे
भाषायाः कियत् प्राधान्यं वर्तते इत्यस्मिन् विषये किञ्चित् चिन्तयामः।
Geeta Samskrita Melika, a postgraduate diploma program to learn Sanskrit language. Okay, let's see. Why it is Mitram? It is Mitraha because
Samskrita Saparya, a short-term Sanskrit learning program.
Sapta Ashta Nava Dasha.
is the feminine form. What would be for the masculine form then?
Ekaki. Have it out, definitely we can ask right now. The nouns and the noun form just.
To learn Sanskritam and earn Samskriti.
अधुना मान्यः इंडियन एम्बेसडर टू आयरलैंड हिज एक्सेलेंसी अखिलेश मिश्रा IFS वर्यः सादरं सम्प्रार्थ्यते उद्घाटन भाषणाय.
Namaskar, my pranam to everyone from Dublin, Ireland. It is a great privilege, great honor for me to join respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, Central Sanskrit University, Professor Srinivas Varkhade ji, Chairman Professor Krishna Kumar ji, respected Professor G.S. Murthy ji, Sri Satyanarayan Bhatt ji, and Dr. Hari Krishnan ji, who kindly invited me to this event. At the outset, I must congratulate and applaud Amrita Vishwavidyapeeth and Central Sanskrit University for this wonderful initiative. This is indeed a fine example of leveraging modern technology to promote ancient Indian knowledge. And I think this event, this launch of Priyamvada, is a historic milestone in the national education policy of 2020. The vision of not only reviving the study of ancient Indian knowledge system and leveraging the enormous wealth of timeless wisdom that is contained in it for good of all, but also more importantly, inculcating the natural sense of pride in our linguistic, philosophical, cultural heritage, which suffered because of our colonial experience. Friends, I'm aware of several audiobooks in many languages and particularly foreign languages. And I know that how they facilitate wider dissemination of knowledge and literature and promote access and availability of text to people worldwide. But also it's very convenient for people because the listening is less stressful to eyes than reading, and it can be used even while traveling. This is a great boon for people like us who have to spend a lot of time on the move. But I must add that compared to foreign languages audiobooks, the audiobooks in Sanskrit will have two special advantages and very unique distinctive merits. First, that Sanskrit is 100% phonetic. I know Sanskrit, I know Italian, I know some other languages, and they are also known as phonetic languages, but they are not 100% phonetic like Sanskrit. Therefore, in Sanskrit, there is no difference in the spoken or heard version or the written and read text. In fact, it could be better for novices like us to listen to the text recited by real scholars rather than reading, because sometimes we don't know how exactly to pronounce the word. So this is a very unique, distinctive feature of Sanskrit language, and the audio app will have an outstanding impact. Second very important point is that audio books would be very useful in showcasing the linguistic unity of India amid unparalleled plurality of languages and dialects in our country. In our country, each major language, particularly those recognized in the Schedule 8 of the Constitution, has a long history, its own script, but Sanskrit seems to provide an underlying thread weaving them in a beautiful linguistic garden, creating a kind of linguistic family. Presence of Sanskrit words, Sanskrit motifs and ideas, and impact of texts of Sanskrit in philosophical and literary fields, which have inspired creativity in most of Indian languages. And the influence of Devanagari Lipi in evolution of many of Indian scripts is also very significant. Even Tamil and Sanskrit, which are like mischievously projected as two entirely different and disconnected streams of language, they have more in common and have influenced each other in many more ways than what is appreciated or acknowledged, probably because of result of a very malicious European colonial propaganda to divide and rule and play one against the another. Tamil versus Sanskrit, Dravidians versus Aryan culture, Indus Valley civilization versus Vedic civilization. But as I think Sri Aurobindo was the first to do a systematic study of linkage between Sanskrit and Tamil and the impact of it. I'm myself interested in languages. I was reading Tirukural, and the first Kural itself says, Akar mudal eduttellam adi bhagavan mudatture ulagu. So normally there are like two very interesting words I found, Akar and Adi Bhagavan. Normally they are translated in English like Akar means A and Adi Bhagavan means primal deity or first deity. But if you see it from the context of Sanskrit linguistics, then you realize a deep, profound connection between Akar. Akar is not A of English alphabet. Similarly, Adi Bhagavan is not a primal deity or first god. In Sanskrit, A is the beginning of Om, Pranav, and that is Brahma. And also in Chaturdash Maheshwar Sutra, Al contains all ayunas to Hal. Al is like all varnas combined together. So Al is called Brahma. So the first Tirukural itself, you need to know Sanskrit to really understand the wisdom behind it. And not only A is the first letter in the Maheshwar Sutra or first letter of Sanskrit, but also A is the beginning of two Vedas. Agnimide Purohitam in Rigved and Agna Aya Hivitae Granano Havyadatae, the Som Ved. Similarly, Tolkappiyam. I don't have a very good satisfying text of translation of Tolkappiyam, but even with like whatever English translation I have access to, I see very fascinating connectivity and parallels between Tolkappiyam and the ideas contained in Nirukta. Kappiyam itself naturally comes from Kavyam in Sanskrit. So the Priyamvada is very important even for those, particularly for those who can't read Devanagari script. They can also enjoy Sanskrit audiobooks and discover how much we share, how much common we have in our linguistic heritage, what kind of linguistic bonds exist. So this will be very, very useful for our next generation. Also, friends, as a foreign service officer, I have been blessed and have been privileged to have exposure to different parts of the world and have exposure to many languages. Some languages I had the opportunity of even learning. But I can tell you frankly, there is no other language like Sanskrit. It's truly marvelous, wonderful. like seems like something very, very extraordinary, very divine, truly divine. It's Dev Bhasha. Most languages, whether are Spanish or Italian or even Indian languages, they have kind of localized regional roots, whereas Sanskrit does not belong to even any region of India, but it has most profound, widest impact, global impact uh, in almost all parts of the world. And very interesting feature, I won't go into the content of Sanskrit language, but I wish to focus a little bit on the structure of language itself. As we know that the Varna Vyavastha in Sanskrit is very, very interesting. Vowels and consonants are very neatly separated. They are absolutely phonetic. They are very scientifically placed. In other languages, for example, English, we have A, B, C, D, E. In this order, there is no logic, there is no reason why this should be the sequence. Why not A, B, D, E, C? In fact, we have this kind of disorder, like different order in different languages. For example, in Greek, you have alpha, like A, beta, B, gamma, delta. In Arabic and Persian and Urdu, you have alif, be, pe, te, se. So some similarity, but no order, because there is no logic behind the placement of different letters. Also, the seeds of Sanskrit's grammatical evolution is contained in 14 Maheshwara Sutra. The concept of pratyahar and how it builds the Sanskrit grammar and Paniniya Sutra is something unparalleled. Also, friends, the way Sanskrit has evolved and Sanskrit unfolds itself. In Sanskrit, the focus is not on the external physical form of the object while describing it, but on its properties, guna, action. There is a linkage between nama and akyat. Objects are named after properties and attributes which are a result of very profound, very deep, minute observation. So each object or being has multiple properties, and no property or action is exclusively belonging to any single object or being. For example, Jal. Jal has 100 water. Water has 101 words in Nirukta. Prithvi, earth, has 21 names. Antariksh has 16 names. Go has 9 names. So this concept of inherent plurality originates from Sanskrit. Go means gam, guy, and also earth, prithvi. So we have the seeds of an ethos, a value system, a thought process, a philosophical mooring in which there is inherently pluralistic and non-exclusive, non-conflictual approach. It is contrast with the Western monolinear worldview. Similarly, in English, there is no reason why Earth, EARTH, should describe our planet. Whereas in Sanskrit, there is a reason why Prithvi is this Earth, this planet. Prat Vistar, expansive, vast. Bhu. Why we call Prithvi Bhu? Because the root is Bhavati, exist. Also, we call it Bhumi because Udbhavati, grows. We call it Dhartri because it holds life, sustains life. Also, a very interesting feature of Sanskrit is that, as is said for the Vedic literature, that Trayo Artha Sarvo Vedeshu. There is Adi Yagya, Adi Bhautik, ritualistic, Adi Daivik relating to deities, and Adhyatmik, this relating to esoteric internal. So each mantra has three meanings, and only ignorant are content with the superficial meaning associated with food or enjoyment or rituals. But the wise men go for the esoteric, psychological, symbolic, secret meaning, meaning vachansi. Also, friends, it is very, very significant that while we have multiple meanings of one word, we have multiple words for the same thing, but the plurality of meanings at multiple levels in which the same word can be interpreted is not a cause for tension, confusion, or conflict, rather than an incentive for inculcating a holistic, inclusive, complex system approach. Sanskrit integrates adhyatmic, means individual level, adhibhautik means social level, adhidaivik means cosmic or global level perspectives. Devah, Devah Dyotanad, Devah Chakshuradini, Indriyadi. So Dev has not just the gods as the Western world would like to tell us and us to believe. Deva in Sanskrit has three different meanings: Indriya, senses, eyes. It also means Jnani and Vigyan, Vidwanso, Hideva. It also has at the Adhidevic level meaning of Surya, Varuna, Agni, Divya Shakti. When you say Gam Ma Hinsi, it means on one hand, don't kill a cow because she is mother, but also it means don't hurt Indriya Vani. Also, it means don't hurt the Mother Earth, Bhumi, Prithvi. So, in following different approaches, there is no denial or no rejection of others' point of view. For the individual development, well-being, adhyatmic view is relevant. For the societal and national progress and prosperity, the adibhavic vision takes precedence. For the natural, ecological, cosmological harmony, adhidaivik analysis becomes preeminent. So there is underlying unity in all three perspectives. This is very special feature of our linguistic heritage of Sanskrit. Another very, very special feature of Sanskrit compared to, I think, all other Western languages, is the issue of gender. Sanskrit is one of the very, very few contemporary languages which has three genders, and also it has three numbers. So the having Vivachan is a special recognition and special significance for the gender. And three genders, everything can be like Deva, I mentioned, which is usually translated as God in English. Deva is pulling, Devi and Devata is striling, Daivatam is Napunsa. So there is no hierarchy of gender. Veda is pulling, Shruti is striling, Jnanam is Napunsak. Dara for Stri, for wife, Dara is pulling, Vanita is striling, Kalatram is neutral. So Sanskrit, friends, is not merely a language in the sense of being a medium or vehicle of communication or sharing of thoughts, but Sanskrit is the very life breath, the pran vahini of Indian culture, Indian civilization, and worldview. Vani, Bhasha, Shabd, Akshar have very deep philosophical, spiritual vision, which is not seen in any other language. Akshar and Shabd, they are not only meant for reading and writing and speaking, but they are also meant for meditation. अवाक होकर सुनने का विषय है. Themes for meditation and contemplation. Vedic rishis did not read the mantras or listen to the divine revolution as happened with other prophets, but directly experienced, saw mantras with their special sadhana. Rishayah mantra drashtarah, creators of them. Akshar is Akshaya, Akshuna, immortal, symbol of Param Brahma, Aksharam Brahma. Vag is revealer, the revealer of all knowledge. Vagvai Brahma, Vacham Upasvaiti. So that kind of fundamental philosophical mooring which the language itself has, the structure of the language, the ethos of the language has, is unparalleled. And I the more I think, I become emotional about the wisdom of our rishis. Sanskrit is the root, the mool of our civilization, our culture, our philosophy. And the consequences of ignoring that root is very, very disastrous. First of all, I will mention the issue of national identity. We hear the European inspired narratives about India versus Bharat and how it is the British colonial rule which unified India and made one India. I must categorically reject that notion because Bharat was not created by British colonial powers. Rig Veda itself very proudly proclaims the divine spirit of our motherland. Yasyeme himavanto mahitva, yasya samudram rasaya sahahu, yasyema pradisho yasya bahu, kasmai devaya havisha vidhema. So it's not Janagana Mana which brought a divine concept of a divine being or Vande Mataram or Bankim Chandra. Is far more antiquated spirit of love, reverence for our motherland, and how the vision of our country from snow-capped Himalayas to Samudras and two sides with oceans. So if we ignore our Sanskritic Sanatan roots, we lose and destroy the foundation of our composite inclusive ethos. Similarly, it can lead to very, very like funny faux pas mistakes. If we, for example, say there is a very popular shloka, Mata Ramo Mat Pita Ramachandra. Tumeva Mata cha Pita Tumeva. We cannot translate and replace Mata, Pita with mummy and daddy or mother and father. Same individual cannot be mother and same individual cannot be father same time. You only know the value of this if you know Sanskrit. Pita originates from Pa Rakshane. Yah Pati Sarvan Sa Pita. Mata Yo Mimite Maneti Sarvan Jivan Sa Mata. So Mata and Pita are divine attributes of Brahma. They cannot be equated with mommy and daddy. Similarly, there is a tendency, particularly the young professionals, because of convenience, they use, instead of Devanagari, they start using Roman transcript transliteration. Again, this is a very, very dangerous trend. Because suppose you like Ram, Ram in Sanskrit has a profound meaning in which you cannot get the same meaning by RAM or RAMA, has no meaning without your knowledge of Sanskrit. Yoga has a very profound philosophical background. YAGA means nothing. Sham means kalyanam. Sukham karoti sha shankara. If you write SHANKARA, it has no meaning, whereas Shankar has a meaning. We have caused ourselves incalculable damage by very, very foolishly translating and equating dharma with religion, adhyatma with spirituality, varna with caste. They have had absolutely devastating impact on our own self-understanding and self-pride. We recently had a very funny incident of use of word Rashtrapatni when the change occurred, and then there was some well-meaning person. He was saying Rashtrapati or Rashtrapatni. It's like amazing. This occurred only because person did not know Sanskrit and what meaning of pati is. Similarly, there was again a controversy when Bhuta Vidya was translated ridiculously as study of ghost. Also, we have been like talking about the India's vision of Ekam Sat in terms of unifying plurality. Again, Ekam Sat Bahudha Vipra Bahudha Vadanti, you cannot understand what it actually conveys unless you know the Sanskrit and you have read the full mantra. Indram Mitram Varuna Magni Mahuratho Divya Sa Suparno Garutman Ekam Sad Vipra Bahudha Vadanti Agning Yamam Matarishwana Mahu. Also, Yajurved says something similar. Tadevagni tadaditya tadvayu tadu chandramaha tadeva shukram tad brahma ta apah sa prajapatihi. So it is very clear that the different names Indram, Mitram, Varuna, Agni, Aditya, Vayu, Chandrama, Shukra, these are not different gods. They are not different deities. These are attributes of the same one single supreme being. So India does not, the Sanatan vision of India does not believe in polytheism or Bahudevvad. Vedas are very categorical, Ekam Sat. This Ek, Ekameva Matnadvitiyam. So if we lose the connection with the root, we will have a very, very severe consequences in the times to come. I must remind our friends, particularly the younger generation students, that it is very like tempting to go for the beautiful flower or beautiful or very tasty, delicious fruit, but you cannot get fruit by watering the leaves or flowers. To get the fruit, you must nurture the roots, irrigate, and provide necessary fertilizers and nutrients to the root. Then only the tree will grow. You will have different branches, strong. You will have flowers. You will have leaves. You will have fruits. Chinne mule naiva vriksho nashakha. Friends, once again, I must congratulate the team behind development of this app, Priyamvada, and I wish this initiative tremendous success. And as an Indian, my sincere gratitude to all of those who were involved in supporting directly or indirectly. Kritam me dakshune haste, jayo me savya ahitah. हमारी जय निश्चित होगी. वंदे मातरम. भारत माता की जय.
धन्यवादः महोदय. अनुग्रह भाषणार्थं सविनयमनुरुन्धे स्वामिनं शङ्करामृतानन्दपुरिवर्यम्।
ओम अविद्यानामन्तस्तिमिरमिहिरद्वीपनगरी जडानां चैतन्यस्तबकमकरन्दश्रुतिझरीं दरिद्राणां चिन्तामणिगुणनिका जन्मजलधौ निमग्नानां दंशामृविपुराहस्य भवति। Om Amriteshwari Namaha. My humble prostrations unto the lotus feet of Amma. My humble pranams to all the dignitaries on and off the dais. My pranams to all the Sanskrit scholars, students who are gathered over here. The fundamental mistake that our education system is having is it's not able to produce great people, even though technically we are better than what was existing before. I say this because I studied in a college where there are only huts, there was nothing else. The course was very long also. It was 7.5 years. Now Ayurveda has been restricted to a crash course like thing. Important things are considered as desirable. So it is a sorry state to learn Ayurveda or any of the Indian sciences. Take music, take Vedas. We talk about the past, but we do not learn at all. Especially in this reels culture, we are unable to listen to a lengthy talk. Whereas learning an Indian science requires a lengthy, very laborious methods. We always say that Sanskrit is nacha klishta, nacha kathina, etc. But a classical language, it's very difficult to do a crash course. 45 minutes, you cannot teach Sanskrit at all. Our classes used to be 2.5 hours, 3 hours, like that. It's a discussion between the teacher. When we walk along with our teachers and then learn the science. The problems are, it's multidimensional. It's not easy to solve all the issues. Fundamentally, we do not have respect towards our culture. That is the fundamental error that we are having. We are attracted towards people who are having coats and suits and ties, who speak, who do a lip service in English. They are considered as scientists. Whereas if you say the same thing in a simple language, it's not respected. Our folk music is not respected, whereas the Western music is respected because it is externally attractive. Rahman's concerts are, we need multiple crores. Also, it's entertaining. Whereas a classical music is very difficult to enjoy that. So how to bring back the respectability to our culture is the greatest question that is to be answered, not by a few Sanskrit scholars, not by few Vedic Pandits, not by few Ayurvedic scholars. It needs a collective effort from every one of us. There's a diamond which is covered by mud. We do not realize the value of it. But it's a diamond. Diamond is a diamond. There is no doubt about that. A modern doctor is respected much more than an Ayurvedic physician. But historically, we had been serving the community, we had been serving this continent in health service for more than, we do not know, at least 4,000 years. It is a very lengthy period. If it has been in America, over 200 years of existence will be considered as a great achievement. Maybe we have diminished a little bit by colonial rule, as the speaker was telling. It is true. By a lot of wars, by destructing the root, by destructing the culture, by destructing the appreciation towards our culture, we wanted to become clerks. We wanted to have coats and suits. We were pulled by the materialistic approach, by the Western system. These are all mistakes we have committed in the history. Even the present generation, who are more clamored by the modernization, we want to become more modern than traditional. This is a fundamental error that we are committing. But as I said, the diamond is a diamond. The value of the old systems do not diminish. It is told in Charaka Samhita that Pasunam Daurbalyat Kashin Madhye Vrikayate Sa Satyam Vrikamasadya Prakritim Bhajate Pasu. This gives a solution. Charaka, at least 4,000 years before, he conceived that what is required, how to solve this, how to, at least to try to solve. There was a bull. It's a small story, which was taller than the others, which was bigger than others. So it aimed as if it is a tiger. So every other cows and bulls believed that it is a tiger. And they were very afraid, and it became the leader of the whole cows. It was having some different color or something. But in a particular day, there was a tiger, a real tiger. It came. And the first one to run away was the bull, which was acting as the leader. So this tells the solution how to solve the complicated issue of lack of respect that is existing within ourselves. We do not believe that we are good. We do not think that India is the best country, which is true. We do not believe our systems. We do not know mathematics, Vedic Ganita. We do not know the language, which is permeating throughout all the languages. Somebody was telling that even in Tamil, which is slightly, it is also a classical language, which has not much resemblance towards Sanskrit. So we ourselves do not have respect to our own system, to our own culture. We think that wearing a coat and suit is better than wearing a dhoti and living a simple life. Simple living and high thinking is the fundamental culture of our nation. Take all our Mahatmas. They were all living a very simple life. Nagarjuna was having nothing in his hand. He said, Siddhera se karishyami, nirdharidryam idam jagat. I will remove poverty from this universe if you give me some mercury. But he was not rich. Vagbhatacharya lived in Kerala. He lived in the river bed. He was having only a dhoti. Even our kings were not wearing costly clothes. Now people are having 1,000 saris. 300 shoes were found in Jayalalitha's house. What will you do with the 300 shoes? Anyway, so the only way to solve this is to sacrifice ourselves towards our culture, towards our own systems. Believe that, wearing a simple clothing is enough. And living for your own self is not enough. Live for others. Paropakarartham idam shariram, it is told. Vyasa says that that is the only way to become glorious. So the one more error that we are committing is we are not accustomed to reading our own text fully. Initially, I thought the Bhagavata is only about Lord Krishna. But later on, when I read a book by Sri Anna in Tamil, I understood that it has got 12 skandhas. Despite of listening to the Bhagavatas, you are attracted only towards a particular portion of it. You do not know the whole text. The system in Ayurveda is also, it's spoiling reading the whole text, whether the NCISM wants it or not. We have to dedicate ourselves to reading the whole text, understanding the whole text, remembering the whole text. That is the method we used to learn. So, how to do that? The Priyamvada gives a beautiful solution. I myself experience, even though I have by-hearted certain texts, like Sri Lalita Sahasranama, the whole text, Saundar Lahari, the whole text. There are many other texts. Every day I listen to those texts. Just a simple phone is enough. Maybe sometimes I lose concentration. Maybe I do not require them. Maybe sometimes, we are not interested. All these things happen. But still, it's a great help to have a cell phone. Use it positively. Listen to the Mula Granthas. Listen to the texts in the proper language. I can go on speaking. The Sanskrit words have multiple meanings, multidimensional meanings. Like dharma cannot be translated. There are many things. Atma is having multiple meanings. There are many words which are like that. Contextual meanings are there. What is the use of our life if we just learn some mathematics and engineering and earn some money and die? Contribute to our culture as much as possible. Contribute and live the life of a sacrifice. What is the use of having 100 dresses if 4 or 5 are enough? What is the use of listening to unimaginable things that are happening in Telugu film industry and other industries? A person can stop the train by just showing his hands. Bullets can be stopped by staring at the gun. No, it's not going to help you at all. So it's a great attempt. I saw the names of the texts. The great Ashtanga Hridaya is there. Charaka Samhita is going to be there. And I listened to the rendering of the Priyamvada, and it was very beautiful. It's a good effort. Maybe I will not listen to Jyotisha, but whatever is concerned to me, I will definitely, I'm doing it actually. Not that I'm not doing it. Listening to the texts, Mula Granthas, it's not the same experience every day. It's a different experience every day. You can chant Vishnu Sahasranama, but the experience every day is different. It depends upon your mind. It depends upon how you think on that particular day. So I hope this effort will continue, and I think they are trying for 40 texts, and it may become more, 400 texts, more than that. Most of the things we learn by Shamala Dandakam. I learned only by listening. Soundarya I learned only by listening to it. So it is possible to achieve great things. So I congratulate and appreciate the efforts taken by the cultural department and the support given by the Central Sanskrit University. Let it flourish, let it nourish, let it become more and more, let it reach more and more people. Let more and more people dedicate towards this great noble cause. May Amma bless for this. Thank you very much for calling me for this program.
धन्यवादः आचार्य। कुञ्जिका भाषणाय सादरमनुरुन्धे कुलपतिं प्रोफेसर श्रीनिवास वर्खेडि महोदयम्।
भवति यदनुभावात् एडमोकोऽपि वाग्मी जडमतिरपि जन्तुर्जायते प्राज्ञमौलिः सकलवचनचेतो देवता भारती सा मम वचसि निधत्तां सन्निधिं मानसे च। मातुः भगवत्याः अमृतदेव्याः चरणसन्निधौ सभक्तिश्रद्धं प्रणामान् विनिवेद्य वेद्यां समुपस्थितान् स्वामिपादान् अन्यांश्च विद्वद्वरेण्यान् सभायां समुपस्थितान् दूरादेव अस्मानुद्दिश्य भाषितवन्तम् अस्माकं प्रियसुहृदं डॉक्टर मिश्रवर्यम् एवं कंटी सूर्यनारायणमूर्ति महोदयम् अन्यांश्च सर्वान् साधुवादैः सभाजयित्वा किञ्चित् अमृतवाण्यां किञ्चित् भाषे। अद्य अमृतपुरी परिसरेऽस्मिन् परमपावने अमृत विश्वविद्यापीठस्य प्रयासेन कश्चन नूतन प्रकल्पः अद्य सम्पन्नः भवतां हस्तमुपगच्छति। तत् नूतन प्रकल्पस्य फलानि वयम् आदातुम् अत्र उपस्थिताः। अत्र छात्राः नैके आयुर्वेद विद्यां पठन्तः अत्र विद्यन्ते। प्रायशः ते सर्वे संस्कृतम् अवगच्छन्ति। अमृत विद्यापीठस्य सर्वे छात्राः अमृतवाणीम् अवश्यम् अवगच्छन्ति इति अहं मन्ये। यतः अमृत विद्यापीठम् अमृत विश्वविद्यापीठं तदैव अमृत विश्वविद्यापीठं भवति यदि अमृतवाणीं तत्र उपासन्ते। अत्र अमृतवाणी खलु तत्र अमृतत्वम् आनयति। अत्र भगवत्याः अमृतानंद मातुरपि या वाणी सा अमृतवाणी, सा अमृतवाणी कदा मृता भवति इति अहं न जानामि। जनाः मृतां मन्यन्ते, येनाम् अमृतवाणी मृतां मन्यन्ते। यतः सामान्यतः जनाः लोके तत्र तेषां यतः ते यदा वयं विद्वांसः जागृताः भवन्ति तदा ते निद्रां कुर्वन्ति. निद्राणाः जनाः स्वप्नं पश्यन्ति. स्वप्ने मिथ्या वस्तु पश्यन्ति. ते मिथ्या वस्तु पश्यन्ति इत्यतः ते अमृतां मृतां पश्यन्ति, मृताम् अमृतां पश्यन्ति. अतः इदानीमेव यथा स्वामिपादैरुक्तं, शङ्करानन्द महाभागैरुक्तं, we have lost not only the knowledge, we have lost the respect for our own knowledge. We have lost the respect for our own culture, our own deeds, our own speech, and our own self. That is the situation of today. If someone, you're all studying Ayurveda Vidya, the great Amrtattva Vidya, it is called Amrita Vidya. And this Vidya itself, when we study that, we consider ourselves as the second graded graduates, because we have lost the respect for our own Vidyas. It is not someone who did that, it is the self. Therefore, Adya Amrta Vidyapithasya etat contribution yadasti, nutanam kinchidasti, at least we should clear our mind whether others are doing it or not. Anne kurvanti va nava, parantu asmabhihi asmakam deshasya अस्माकं विद्यायाः अस्माकं संस्कृतेः मूलं यदस्ति तत् मूलस्य विषये अस्माभिः ज्ञातव्यं, तद्विषये अस्माभिः गौरवं मनसि करणीयम्. अद्य वयं अहं द्वित्रांशान् अहं भवतां पुरस्तात् उपस्थापयितुम् इच्छामि. एकं तावत् संस्कृतवाणी या वर्तते, या संस्कृताधार्यते, वाण्येका समलंकरोति पुरुषम या संस्कृताधार्यते. Normally Sanskrit is said to be the matrabhasha. People would contest sometimes why it is matrabhasha. All languages are equal. Yes, I believe all languages are equal. Sarvaha bhashaha matrabhasha. Malayala bhasha matrabhasha, Tamil bhasha matrabhasha, Kannada bhasha matrabhasha. अस्माकं भारतीयाः सर्वाः भाषाः भारतीयानां सर्वेषामपि मातृभाषाः एव. I cannot say that I am Kannadiga, therefore I don't respect Malayalam. You cannot say that you are Malayali, therefore you cannot respect Tamil. All are our mother. I would say always, we have a model called Kartikeya. You know Kartikeya? You know Kartikeya? Kartikeyan. Kartikeyan is called in Sanskrit Shanmatura. Shanmatura Shaktidharaha Kumara Kumaraha. Kumarasya nama Shanmatura. You should know this story. He has 6 mothers. Okay. And very interestingly, every Sanskrit speaking scholar or a boy or girl, I know many of them, many of us, they are Shanmaturas. You know why? Minimum, I know my native language. Okay. I know my native language. I know my state language. One Hindi, English. If Konkani person knows Konkani, his home language, plus he understands Malayalam 2, Hindi, English 4, Sanskrit 5, right? Minimum 5 to 6 languages he knows. And if he is staying adjacent to Kasargod, he will know Kannada also. If he is Palakkad, then he knows Tamil also. Then minimum an average Indian boy and girl will have 6 mother tongues. This is the uniqueness. आप कभी किसी देश में यूरोप कंट्रीज में भी मैंने देखा है, यूरोप कंट्री, you cannot, if you cross the border, you won't understand others language. He does not know English. The boy or girl on the street will not understand any of English because he speaks only French and he hates English. Interestingly, every Indian boy and girl, and in the borders especially, No, 6 languages. If you know Sanskrit, 6 languages. Ataha, Samskrita scholars has an advantage. I know 9 languages. Because my Sanskrit is an added advantage for me, because I can connect so many languages. अतः संस्कृतभाषायाः किञ्चित् वैशिष्ट्यमस्ति तत् मातृभाषात्वमपि भवति वी आर् षण्मातुरास् so we are like Kartikeyas, we have Shaktidhara. Therefore we should be very proud about ourselves. संस्कृतस्य यथा इदानीं वैभवमुक्तम् अहं न कथयामि परन्तु संस्कृतस्य एकं मुख्यमस्ति. You know, somebody told me Sanskrit cannot be a mother tongue for other languages. How do you say? You know Itihasa? Somebody asked me in Chennai. He asked me, how do you say that Sanskrit is the most ancient Indian language? Tamil is ancient Indian language. I said Tamil is also ancient Indian language. I don't have any contest. Then how do you claim that Sanskrit is the most? No, I said no, I don't claim. For me, any Indian language, when he gets, purified, yada sarvaha bhashaha, Malayalam va bhotu, Tamil va bhotu, Kannada va bhotu, Sanskrit is not the origin of those languages. Sanskrit is the target language. That means when I refine my Malayalam, when I go on refining my Tamil, when I go on refining my Kannada, then one day my speech will become Sanskrita. Sanskrit is the origin, but Sanskrit is the Lakshya. It is a target. And slowly I should try my best to clean my speech, refine my speech so that my Malayalam becomes Sanskrita. My Tamil becomes Sanskrita. So that's the original idea. Therefore, I am calling that the Sanskrit is the target language. It is Laksha Bhasha. It is in the future. It is not in the past. Therefore, don't connect yourself with Sanskrit for the past, but connect with the future. If you really speak Sanskrit, and one day you will become Samskrita, that's why it's in the future. So you are creating your future. You are not creating the past. So this is the beauty of Sanskritam. How to do that? Ataha Sanskritam Shuddhi Vishaye Sanskritam Bahu Mukhyam. Yatha Sanskritam ityukte Shuddham ityarthaha, refined ityarthaha. Kutaha arambhaha bhavati? Ucharanat. First you clean your Ucharana. Refine your pronunciation. Ucharanam Shuddham bhavet. Tadanantaram Shabdaha Shuddha bhavet. Bhasha Shuddha bhavet. Shravanam Shuddham bhavet. Bhavaha Shuddha bhavet. Idi Bhavaha Shuddha bhavati chet. You know why Mata is so powerful? Whatever she speaks, that becomes truth. Why? It is her Samskrita Vani. It is her pure Bhava Shuddhi. That Bhava Shuddhi happens only with the Bhasha Shuddhi. When your speech is refined and your Bhava is refined, then everything is one, then you will have power. Edev Amrutavani tuchate. Ataha, Sanskrit is to be refined through the Ucharana and Shravana. Today, Priyamvada is one of such efforts. We have the text, but we don't know how to pronounce it. The problem of Sanskrit is many people want to learn Sanskrit. Sarve ichhanti Sanskritam pathami iti parantu patitum na shaknunti. Yataha tad aksharaणि bhavanti parantu aksharanam ucharanam katham karaniyam iti na jananti. You also may face certain problems that where to split, how to pronounce the long sentences. Samasta padani katham ucharaniyana iti na janimaha. So this Priyamvada will help us to, if you go to the teacher, then teacher will tell once. You cannot ask him repeatedly. But this Priyamvada is very helpful because she will not charge you. She will not say that I don't repeat. She will say each and every time if you want to repeat, she will repeat. Ataha Priyamvada is like Sakhi, like a friend. And she will help you to how to pronounce and how to listen. But as Swamiji said, you should have patience to listen. Today, through Priyamvada, they're all getting a great help to learn Sanskrit and listen Sanskrit, listen the text. And so therefore you can keep them in your memory. especially for Ayurveda students, this, why India is facing innovative problems. Problem is this, see, people have experience, but they don't have smriti. People have smriti, but they don't have experience. You have to connect them. Without smriti, you cannot be considered as a good knowledgeable person. You may be knowledgeable person. If you don't have experience of hands-on experience, you can't be considered a good solution maker. So you should have smriti and you should have experience. Today, Ayurveda students lack smriti. They have only experience. But you should have smriti also. Smriti is very important for you. So to keep smriti, you can take the help and you can keep remembering. Audiobook will certainly help. Today I am happy to come here. Aham atra agatosmi. Atra Harikrishnaha evam tasya sarve bhratarah militva Priyamvadayaha samskarartham ahutavantaha. You know why I am here? It's a marriage for me. Because Central Sanskrit University only gives recognition and funding. But Amrita Vidyapitham has taken a responsibility of mother. And बहुदिनेभ्यः गर्भे प्रेमवदां संस्थाप्य अधुना तां बहिः आनीय स्थापितवन्तः. Now Priyamvada is now this is offered to the loka, lokaya arpita. Atha Priyamvadayaha balayaha utsavah balotsavah jatah. So in your Amrita Vidyapitha Garbha, she has grown and we are happy. And now it is Namakaranam Kritva. Priyamvada iti Namakaranam Kritva Jana Lokanam Krite Arpitasa. The Lokaha Agataha. All of you can, when child takes birth and she starts speaking, everyone will be happy. When child starts speaking, यदा बाला मुखम उद्घाट्य उच्चारयति तदानीं सर्वे सन्तुष्टाः भवन्ति. अतएव भवन्तः प्रियंवदा इदानीं वदति. Priyamvada speaks and you will be happy to listen to it. Therefore, only we in Kerala, many fathers stay in Gulf and they come here and only sometime they will come to Kerala and then they will enjoy and they will go back. Likewise, Central Sanskrit is like father working far away. But Amrita Vidyapitham is a mother, and you are growing it and you are making it available. So we will take it we will record it, we'll take Priyamvada, will be very, popular app. And I think the whole world will welcome her. Thank you so much for, getting me here. Vishishya matuhu bhagavatyaha darshanamapi jatam tasyaha ashirvadaha api praptaha tena asmakam shaktivardhanam jatam तदेव मम जीवनस्य भाग्यमिति मत्वा विरमामि.
धन्यवादः आचार्य. सारस्वत भाषणाय सादरम् अनुरुन्धे प्रोफेसर् गण्टी एस् मूर्ति महोदयः अन्तर्जालमाध्यमेन अत्र सन्निहितः अस्ति.
नमस्ते महोदय, इदानीं श्रूयते एव?
यस् सर्.
मातृभ्यो नमः, पितृभ्यो नमः, गुरुभ्यो नमः, सभायै नमः, सभापतिभ्यश्च नमो नमः. Namaste to everyone, including Swamiji's Pada Pranam to Swamiji and then Mata Amrutananda. And this is Priyamvada. After that beautiful analogy given by Professor Varkhedi, I mean, it's really a great pleasure to hear that. I mean, even the Namakarana of Priyamvada, and then Amritapuri as the Mata, Amrita Vishwavidyapitha as the Mata, and then the Central Sanskrit University as the basically the Pita. Then the IKS division will be the Bhrata, and then we will take her and make sure that we'll protect her and then take her to be the proud this thing to take her to everywhere. Because just like a proud brother, IKS division, when we will look at this this original Sanskrit text, as Swamiji was really alluding to, we have lost respect for our own culture. This is what the colonialism did to us. And then I think this kind of efforts where we cultivate our this thing and then really listen to our basically our texts and then understand them, slowly the understanding will slowly come. As again, Swamiji was saying, even if you listen to the same text multiple times, the artha that we get will be dependent on the state of the mind. And then as we go forward, as we our understanding deepens, the meaning also deepens, and then we understand more and more nuances of that same text as we listen. That is why, in fact, in our tradition, the scholars are called Bahushruta, somebody who has listened to a lot. And I think having Priyamvada in this age of podcasts and things like that, having a app like that will be very, very helpful, because unless we listen to the text and then understand them and then essentially memorize all of these things and then have them in our dharana shakti, in our dharana, we cannot internalize the text and the nuances that are there and then the knowledge that is in there. Unless we internalize the knowledge, it cannot, the expression of that knowledge or the creativity of the knowledge to take it further cannot be natural. So, I mean, as Sri Akhilesh Mishraji was saying, the colonial system of education was trying to create clerks here. And we want to really go beyond that. And if we want to go beyond that, if we want to create new Paninis and Aryabhattas and not be satisfied with what we had, if we want to look further, we need to internalize these texts, study these texts properly. And for that, I think Priyamvada is going to be such a valuable tool, one of the valuable tools. And I know it is a big labor of love that has been this entire Priyamvada is a labor of love of the entire Amrita Vishwavidyapitha and then the Central Sanskrit University. The lot of scholars and the faculty members in Amrita Vishwavidyapitha who were involved in all of this. I congratulate all of you on these efforts. And then at the same time, as the Veda Ghosha says, Charayveti, Charayveti. So this is not the end. May you increase more and more, and then let this be the progress. Let's go forward and then take these things forward, because the corpus that we have, that our rishis and our basically elders have left us, is such a valuable thing. And it is a valuable treasure, not just for our Bharat, it is for the entire world. Therefore, it is important that if we want to be the thought leaders of our Bharat, of the world, it is important that we become the true inheritors of that thing. And then there, when we talk about that, we have to dazzle like the suns with the knowledge. And then until that happens, we cannot really lead the way to others. Only a lighted lamp, as Buddha says, can light the other lamp. So therefore, we have to enlighten ourselves and then understand what our rishis and our munis, gurus were trying to say through these texts. And for that, first of all, the first parampara, look at this this thing, the irony of, rather than irony, how the Indian concept of the Kala Chakra comes around. We had started with the Shruti Parampara during the Vedic ages, then came the print, then we were looking at the television texts and things like that. Now we are back to the Shruti Parampara. And then that's essentially what we are talking about. Perhaps this is an indicator that we also would like to become Bahushruta. May all of us strive to be Bahushruta. And this is something that takes effort, as Swamiji was rightly cautioning us. This is not something that is to be taken lightly. This is essentially, this country, as Chanakya had said, is dependent on the teachers and scholars. इनके गोद में सृष्टि स्थिति और लय होता है, और इसीलिए एक शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता. और इसी तरह से हम लोगों को आचार्य बनना है, शिक्षक से आचार्य बनना है, तो हमको परिश्रम तो करना पड़ेगा. We have to work hard. We'll have to put in the basically in this jnana yajna, we'll have to put the samhithas, and that samhithas will be our own effort, our own essentially the amount of time that we spend on these texts to understand. And then there is now thankfully a nascent but budding and very fast growing networks of scholars who are interested to do the deep scholarly research in Indian knowledge systems and Bharatiya Jnana Parampara that is coming out. And then therefore, it is we are fortunate to be living in these times, because this is when we are seeing the green shoots of Bharat that is awakening after a millennia of deep slumber. And I think for that, that green shoots and then taking it further will happen only once we are true to our past and then look towards the future. As Varkhediji was rightly saying, Samskrita is to connect to the future. Bharatiya Jnana Parampara is to connect to the future. It is not just about past or history studies. It is about a continuum of knowledge that has been existing in this country and then will continue to exist, and with continuous refinements and innovations, churning that is going to happen. So essentially, we are already seeing a lot of green shoots as we talk about this. And I think for that, there is almost the science today, even when you look into whether any most of the disciplines, whether you talk about economics, science, or any of the other psychology, they have hit a wall because they are only looking at it from a limited perspective that is offered by the Western perspective. Now, this is where the jnana of the Bharati Jnana Parampara can come in, and then this can provide new perspectives that can take these fields much more further. And then as we go further, as Varkhediji was saying, the Samskrita is the goal for all the languages. The effort of all of these things is essentially the Chaturtha Purushartha, which is really the moksha. But then essentially this is going to lead to all of that, whether it be whether you are a physicist, whether you are an Ayurveda Vaidya, or whether you are a Natya Shastra expert or a Sangeetakara. Essentially, whenever we try to achieve the pinnacle of excellence in each of the disciplines, the Indian view is it will lead to the basically ultimate realization of the Paramatma. And that essentially is the goal that we are all striving towards. In fact, this is what even Vaisheshika, in the Vaisheshika Sutras, Kanada Maharshi says that the Vaisheshika Sutras, the study of the world, is to achieve the Nishreyasa. And that essentially is to understand these kind of thoughts. It is very important that we read the text. And many a times, as Professor Varkhedji was saying, if they cannot read the text, at least we can listen to the text. And then by repeatedly listening to the same thing, as you know, we picked up our mother language, mother tongue, basically we're listening to it, and then we have become kind of very comfortable with it. I think similarly, by listening to these texts, it will purify our vak, it will purify our vani, it will purify our manas, and it will purify ultimately our bhava, and ultimately make us turn students, shishyas to gurus, gurus to acharyas, and acharyas to rishis. With those few words, I congratulate the team that has made this Priyamvada and assure you of full support of the Indian Knowledge Systems Division of the Ministry of Education. Let's all work together and take these things forward. And with those words, wishing the continued success to the teams, I stop my words here. Namaste.
धन्यवादः महोदय। अधुना आचार्यः श्रीनिवासवर्खेडि महोदयः सम्प्रार्थ्यते प्रियमदायाः संवर्धकान् सभाजयितुम्। अस्माकं प्रियमदा प्रकल्पस्य शब्दमिश्रकः अस्ति श्री अरुण् महोदयः। अरुण् महोदयः सम्प्रार्थ्यते मञ्चम् आगच्छतु इति। अरुण् महोदय। अनन्तरं ट्रबोडा इति इदं दलमेव अस्माकं डेवलपर् आसीत्। तत्र अस्माकं कृते कार्यं कृतवान् श्रीमान् प्रसन्नः। तमपि अहम् अनुरुन्धे मञ्चम् आगच्छतु इति। स्वीयवचोभिः एवं च शब्देन अस्माकं प्रियमदायाः संवर्धनं कृतवन्तः जनाः अपि अत्र उपस्थिताः सन्ति। आदौ वाचिका डॉक्टर रोशिनी वेंकटेश्वरन्, डॉक्टर वीणा चंद्रन, श्री अंगद पीएस, श्रीनिवासवर्खेडी महोदयाय धन्यवादान् वितनोमि। उपसंहृत्यर्थं सादरमनुरुन्धे ब्रह्मचारी अच्युतामृतचैतन्यवर्यम्।
ओम अमृतेश्वरे नमः। अत्यल्पमेव अहं वदामि, भाषणं करोमि। अहं चिन्तयामि स्म यत् एतद् प्रियंवदा इति परियोजनायाः अरुणोदयः इव अस्ति इति, परन्तु वर्खेडे महोदयस्य भाषणानन्तरं मया ज्ञातं यत् एतत् अरुणोदयः नास्ति, एतत् भाषणमपि आरब्धं प्रियंवदया इति ज्ञात्वा तस्य प्रामाणिकता मत्तः अधिकः अस्ति, तस्मात् अस्मिन् विषये कोऽपि सन्देहः नास्ति। प्रियंवदा भाषितुम् आरब्धा, अस्मिन् कोऽपि सन्देहः नास्ति। अहम् अस्मिन् अवसरे तस्य सान्निध्यस्य, वर्खेडे महोदयस्य सान्निध्यमेव अस्मान् बहु कृतज्ञान् करोति। तदर्थं तस्मै अस्माकं कृतज्ञतां ज्ञापयामि। अनन्तरं एतद् औपचारिकरूपेण कृतज्ञता ज्ञापनं नास्ति, परन्तु मम हृदयस्य भावः अहं प्रकटीकरोमि। अनन्तरम् अस्यां परियोजनायां नेतृत्वं सारथ्यं दत्तं डॉक्टर हरिकृष्णन् महोदयेन, डॉक्टर मिथुन् महोदयेन च। तौ अभिनन्दितुमपि अस्मिन् अवसरे अहम् इच्छामि। अनन्तरं यथा भवन्तः सर्वे जानन्ति, एषा परियोजना इदानीं समाप्तिं न प्राप्ता इति भवन्तः जानन्ति एव। एतद् अस्याः परियोजनायाः अग्रे गमनं मङ्गलमयं भवतु। अनन्तरं तद् मङ्गलमयीं समाप्तिं प्राप्तु इत्यपि अहम् अत्र आशासे। अम्बायाः अनुग्रहेण एव एतत् सर्वं सम्पन्नं जातमिति अहं तस्मै अम्बायै अहं प्रणामं ददामि। अम्बायाः कृपार्थं पुनरपि प्रार्थयित्वा अहं मम वाक्यानि समापयामि। सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः। वन्दे मातरम्।
कृतज्ञता ज्ञापनार्थं डॉक्टर मिथुन् महोदयः सम्प्रार्थ्यते।
श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। अस्माकं प्रकल्पस्य प्रेमदा नामकस्य अस्य कार्यक्रमस्य च उद्घाटकाः श्रीमन्तः अखिलेश मिश्र महाभागाः, भारतदेशस्य ऐर्लैण्ड् स्थानपतयः, तत्र आचार्यैः सप्रमाणं सविस्तरं च प्रतिपादितं कथं संस्कृतभाषा लोकभाषाः प्रयोजयन्ति एवं कथम् एतादृशप्रकल्पाः अद्यतनप्रयोजकाः भवन्ति इत्यस्मिन् विषये आचार्येभ्यः विश्वविद्यालयपक्षतः अस्मत्पक्षतश्च आचार्याय कार्तज्ञं व्याह्रियते। धन्यवादाः। अस्माकम् अध्यक्षेभ्यः प्रोफेसर् यू कृष्णकुमार महाभागेभ्यः तत्र आचार्यस्य अत्र प्राप्त्यर्थं केचन क्लेशाः जाताः, अतः अत्र न आगताः। यद्यपि तथापि आचार्येभ्यः अपि हार्दं कार्तज्ञं व्याह्रियते। एवं श्रीमन्तः श्रीनिवासवर्खेडी महाभागाः केन्द्रीयविश्वविद्यालयस्य कुलपतयः अस्माभिः सर्वदा प्राप्ताः। सम्मर्देषु अपि बहुषु सम्मर्देषु अपि अस्माकम् आमन्त्रणं स्वीकृत्य अत्र आगत्य कुञ्जिकाभाषणं कृतवद्भ्यः आचार्येभ्यः कृतज्ञताकुसुमं व्याहरोमि। आचार्योक्तप्रकारेण अमृतवाण्याः गौरवं न केवलं मनसि किन्तु प्रवृत्तावपि धारयामः इति प्रतिज्ञां कुर्मः वयम्। And we know even though the father is in Gulf, he is always there to look after us. So thank you. तदनन्तरम् अस्माभिः सह सन्निहितः आसन् महान्तः श्रीमन्तः प्रोफेसर् गण्डी एस् मूर्तिमहाभागाः। सर्वेषामपि अस्माकं नाम्नि आचार्येभ्यः हार्दं कार्तज्ञं व्याह्रियते। संस्कृतभारत्याः महामन्त्रिणः श्रीमन्तः सत्यनारायणभट्टमहोदयः अपि अत्र मञ्चम् अलङ्कुर्वन्तः। धन्यवादः। तेभ्यः अपि हार्दं कार्तज्ञं व्याह्रियते। अनन्तरं स्ववचोभिः अस्मान् सर्वदा प्रचोदितवन्तः अस्माकं स्वकीयाः स्वामी श्री शङ्करामृतानन्दपुरीवर्याः बहूनपि शारीरिकक्लेशान् तृणवद्गणय्यैव आचार्याः अस्मान् स्ववचोभिः अनुगृहीतवन्तः। अद्यापि तत्र विपर्ययो न जातः इत्यत्र नास्ति अद्भुतम्। We promise that we will always keep that trigger of the cultural gun for further explosions. Amen. एवम् अस्माकं स्पिरिचुवल् एंड कल्चरल स्टडीज विभागाध्यक्षाः श्रीमन्तः अच्युतामृत चैतन्यमहाभागाः सर्वेष्वपि अस्माकं प्रकल्पसम्बन्धिकार्येषु सर्वदा च साहाय्यं कुर्वन्तः सन्तः अस्माकं सहकारित्वेन वर्तन्ते। अस्माकम् आचार्येभ्यः विशेषतः कृतज्ञतासमर्पणं यद्यपि औपचारिकवशात् इदानीं दीयते तथापि पुनः एकवारं तान् मनसि निधाय एवं अत्र भारतस्य विभिन्नप्रान्तेभ्यः अस्मान् अनुगृहीतुम् आगतवद्भ्यः महाव्यक्तिभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सुमनोभ्यः आचार्य नरेशमहाभागेभ्यः शैन् महाभागेभ्यः एवम् अस्माकं संघाय प्रमुखाय आनंद महाभागेभ्यः पद्मकुमार महाभागेभ्यः इत्यादि सर्वेभ्यः विजयकुमारी महाभागेभ्यश्च तत्र इदानीं किमपि अभुक्त्वा एव एताः आगतवद्भ्यः एतान् प्रति एवं सर्वेभ्यः सुव्यक्तिभ्यः सादरं कार्तज्ञं व्याहृत्य विरमामि।
अधुना प्रियंवदा अस्माकं प्ले स्टोर ऐप स्टोर तः अस्माभिः डाउनलोड कर्तुं शक्यते, उपयोगः अपि कर्तुं शक्यः। अधुना देशीयगानालापनेन वयं सभामिमां समापयामः। देशीयगानं वयं सर्वे मिलित्वा गायामः।
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा। विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा। तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे। गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता। जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे।
सर्वे छात्राः सादरं प्रार्थ्यन्ते कृपया बहिः चाय व्यवस्था अस्ति, चायं पीत्वा गच्छन्तु इति। अतिथयः अत्र मञ्चस्य उपरि आगच्छन्तु। We shall have a group photo, so all the respected people are requested to be here on the stage.
Namaste.
चाय